Tatiana, you worked for 2 years, 2 long years for this exhibition. So what was your aim?
Well, my aim was really to try to be focused in something in this big show. My aim was really to try to get the time that is necessary to think about an exhibition, not to think just about all the pieces that I will show and I was supposed to show on an exhibition, but to really think about the entire exhibition and the way to walk on this exhibition. So I take 2 years. It was most like a writer, when he decides to write a book, he takes the time necessary to do it and to have the time to change, to erase, to restart it again. So it was a really immersive time. And it was essential for me to prepare.
But what was your dream about this exhibition?
Well, I didn't have a really dream, because my dream is something that is really related to the space. So I was really more try to understand how I can develop a universe inside this architecture that is really, really not easy place to show. I mean, it's more, if I have to think, maybe it's more easy for a painter to show this kind of architecture, because there is a lot of small room, one behind the other ones.
But you are also a painter, no?
Well, I think I am a three-dimensional painter and a two-dimensional sculptor.
Paradoxical lady.
Well, no, it's just the way I flow, I travel in between these two processes, that for me there is not really a border. For me it's really the way they can exchange their quality and the way they can alimentate each other.
And so you completely transform the space, in fact.
Well, I try really to have another way to navigate it on the space. So I close some walls, I open another ones, I make a lot of site-specific work, and I really try also to start the show with an entry on my sculpture. Then it's a little bit like an entry inside my drawings, and then when you go on the second floor, you have all my drawings that become almost an immersive installation. So it's really this dialogue and this exchange between these two processes.
So what is this world you have created here, you think?
Sorry?
What is this world? You have created a world here.
Yeah, this world is a world that it's related to the way we inhabit this our world, the way I work in my studio in relation of outside my studio, what happens also around me, around the world. So it's really also this come and go between inside my studio, my imagination, and outside my studio, the world, and the impulse that these two universes, they communicate.
And you have recreated your studio.
No, I don't think I have recreated the studio, but I think I have finished and work on this show like I work in my studio. And for me it's really necessary also to finish the work in where I'm gonna install the work. For me this space is not, when I do a show, is not only to go and install what I have a think before, what I have a studio on the scale model, what I have a try on three-dimensional on my computer. Is really also the moment then things still a lot of changing when I'm installing. I'm really using the space on the very close relation that I could have also in my studio.
No, but I mean the last piece, which is a compilation of elements.
Ah, okay.
Doesn't it come from your studio?
Yes, this is an inventory that's come from my studio, because also my relation with this collection of objects then I found, then I remake, then I'm looking for. I start always in the beginning to remake this object in the material that interests me. Sometimes I use, sometimes not. Sometimes they go from one sculpture then to another one. But all this, I start always with having around me all this vocabulary then it's kind of lexical for me. So it was also the idea, when you finish the parcours, when you finish the show, it's you go from the beginning again. So you start with the beginning, you finish with the beginning.
And you could do it in another way, in a way.
Yes.
And when one can feel material is very important.
Mhm.
Because there's also this trompe-l'œil, what you see is not exactly what you think, etc., right? For you, it's very important. Even when you use the fabric on the floor, when you paint the fabric, which become curtains, it's very sensual, in fact.
Yeah, the material are really important for me. And this material, if you look, they really travel always from sculpture to drawings. And also I really like to work with the materials that have in the process when I'm using, there are also a moment then they are very liquid, like the plaster, the bronze, so they have all the time this moment then they are very liquid before to become solid. And also on this moment when they are very liquid, there is sometimes there is a lot of accident that happens with them. Then I also then they are really welcome.
So you play a lot. You play with space, you space with scale, you play with material.
I'm a player, big player.
No, but you want to do something like that, right?
Yes.
Some kind of surprise. And in a way, for some work, I thought about, I invented a word of nature morte of 21st century. Nature morte is okay for you? For example, this you created this kind of canvas, and in front of the canvas there are some different objects, but one can see behind the canvas too.
Yes, okay. Some of them they recall maybe the nature morte. Some of them they are really landscape. Some other them are really navigation gates. So it's really, some of them are really also scale model of architecture. I'm really traveling between different ways.
And also, for me, there is some magic in some of your representation, if some use of the object, like if magic would be around. Are you a witch?
I wish I could.
The magic dimension is important.
I think in some of my work there is the idea of magic soul, pensée magique. That is something that really interests me, but not in a very direct and concrete way, like illusionism of magic of that no.
No, for sure, but it's an understatement, right?
Yes.
And could you speak about the Guardian?
Okay. So those are work then in the beginning I create to give, to try to have a good replay to the invitation of group show. So for me it was really because when you have an expression like mine where space is really important, what the space is not for me just a white cube where I put things, but it's really something that have their own
identity
and their own character. For me it was really complicated, especially when there is also other work of art, to make the right choice of giving a sculpture, an installation, and so on. So at one point I decided to make a sculpture that was really related to the other artwork, and I decided to make this guardian. Then in the beginning it was made to watch other artists' work and to be again in a kind of family, reuniting the family. So that's why the guardian start. And also because I also like very much this idea that always in the show there is a guardian. They watching us, how to be sure that we don't touch or we don't damage this the work of the artwork. and we never look really at them. So it was for me also to reverse the eyes, to have an eyes on the guardian.
But if we speak of temple, of magic, I mean, at the entrance of many temples, there are guardians too.
Yes, also.
Lions,
Yeah.
gods.
Yes, okay. If you think like that, yes. But yes, and there is also one of the newspaper that I really like, the Guardians. It's calling the Guardians. The Guardians, I think, is also somebody who watch or take. For example, for the newspaper, the English newspaper, I think the Guardian is the guardian of the democracy and the guardian of to be sure that we all share the knowledge about something, the true, or that we don't are without light. So I really like this idea. Then there is a part of my work, my guardians, they talk a lot also about the world. They have a lot of books they talk about.
Exactly. What kind of books?
Many different, some from my library, some of the books that I have wrote, some other are books that I wish to read, but they are all relating to our world. A lot of book of anthropology.
And some precious things too. Stones.
Yes, but all the objects, when there is a book, they are related to the knowledge of the book. So the book for me, it's also the way to welcome other people in my work, to welcome people, other way to thinking, other way to look the world that we are living in.
Bon, and now after this big work, what is next? What's going on next?
I think I cannot tell you.
You want to rest?
I think I will.
Merci.
De rien.